And whenever you're watching this, we're going to do a very, very quick first, not a very quick, a very early first look on the NFL Week 16 for the Sunday main slate. We'll also be live. We don't know when exactly yet on Saturday, but we'll do something for that. Obviously, we've got a big game tomorrow, and the NBA has been kind of quiet, so we got all this football. It's the football time of year. We're ready to get into it. Sheets, any sort of overall thoughts other than I guess the one I had was just that it's a war. Just be aware that everything's going to change by Sunday, and there's very likely a lot of these guys we think are playing may in fact not be playing. So.
I don't think people are sitting yet, but I do think that as we get towards like week 17, 18, maybe guys will sit, maybe people will be going for records and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I still think it's a clean slate. You know what I mean? Like I still think people are playing.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. The other thing is, as you mentioned, as we get down to the end of the year, you have all these like Saturday slates, and then we're going to go into the Christmas slates and whatever it is, and that means like a lot of 2-gamers along with the main and a lot of showdown slates. There's like a lot of action. Looking forward to it, and I guess I'll give my same, speech as I will for the last like 3 weeks of the season, and even into the playoffs here. That. The difference between a good weather game and a bad weather game is pretty dramatic at this time of the year. And then you don't need me to tell you that it's cold out, right? But from DFS perspectives, you do have that big wide gap. And then also you have these teams that are looking to make statements and put the hammer down. And we saw that with the freaking Jacksonville last week. You know what I mean? Like Jacksonville was hot and they were playing a team. And I've been saying this the whole season that eventually these teams give up, and the first thing that gives up is the defense. And when you have a defense giving up against a team that's freaking rolling and making a big push to a good seed, that was a recipe. I don't know. Listen, I didn't know it'd be 6 touchdowns, whatever, but it was definitely a recipe for a big number. And I also I was one touchdown off of the final score of the Bears game, of the Eagles game. I thought it'd be 38-0. It was 31, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. But this is what happens, so just be on the lookout for that, for teams that they're giving up versus teams that are continuing to pile on, so we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because based on what happened, just to transition into this first game, based on last week, you might think that, the Bengals are just giving up. The Bengals, look, for years, this has been true about them. They have these games where they literally look like the worst team in the history of the NFL. And Joe Burrow has these games. I mean, remember week 1 this year against Cleveland? Yeah, Cleveland's a good defense. They had negative yards in the second half. They won the game, like 16-13. But they just have weird, funky games. And I'm willing to throw that out, and I'm very curious where ownership ends up this week. And I'm willing to throw that out and get back into a little bit of Joe Burrow and Cincinnati here. What do you think about that?
Well, listen. I mean, I've been wrong about a lot this year. But I'll tell you one thing I've been just freaking 100% right on. And it all came together the other day. One thing I said was that about the Steelers was that I don't care what their team is. I don't care whether it's the 60s, 70s, 80s, who the quarterback is, what their record is, what their motivations are. They play these freaking home games on Monday night against teams coming in from good weather, and they just beat the crap out of them for no reason, And it happened with the Chargers this year. It happened with another game this year. And then the other thing that I said was that there are really literally 2 versions of Tua Tagovailoa. Tua. One is the one that plays in good weather in the domes, and the other is the other. All right, and the other one has no hope in these types of weather. And when you put the 2 things together the other night, I mean, like, I'm not a big sports bettor, but that was a freaking lock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you saw Tua. I mean, it's just not his fault. It's just, he grew up where he grew up, and he played where he played in college, and he's just not used to playing in these freaking conditions. Mm-hmm. And they have this offense, which is very timing based. They're just hopeless there. And now, on the other hand, now it's the opposite. now it's in good weather against a team that gives up stuff. I think this game just goes freaking bananas.
I don't think Tua is going to play.
I think that's the case.
I think he's benched. I think he's officially benched, and they
really.
Yeah, I really do.
I couldn't imagine that being the case.
Well, they announced that McDonald addressed benching him on purpose, like it's saying that we want to give viewers a shot. So we'll see. I mean,
it says that. Look at that. Oh my God! It says he panned. See, that's dumb. Okay. Well, at least there's a quarterback that they want to give a look at, whatever it is. Is this guy any good?
So Ewers, I mean, there was one point last year where people were literally talking about him that he was going to be the number one pick when he was in college. And I thought he was pretty, I thought he had some talent, but I was never quite on it as high on him. And then he just sort of, he faded away. It happens in college football all the time. I mean, we have a guy who's going to be the number one pick who barely could get a scholarship to a college. You know what I mean? Next year. So I don't know, but he's 4K. And it's Cincinnati, so he has to at least be on the list of like.
Nah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because for all the same reasons. I mean, listen. I happen to like McDaniel. He's definitely lost his mind. Okay.
Yeah.
I happen to like him. I think he's, I think that the difference between an eccentric and a moron is just based on your one loss record. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't really been doing much, so now he's an idiot, right? But they have a very, listen, it's a very complicated scheme over there, and to bring Evers into that, I don't know. I think if anything, it's just a big old Devon A-Chain game. So I'll say Devon A-Chain against the Bengals is probably what's his price? 11K. I mean, what is he going to be here? 800. I think is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you want? The guy is the worst run defense in football. He gets there even in games where he gets hurt. Usually. Yeah. I like the A-Chain. I do think that without Tua, it's a little tiny knock because Tua drops it off to him like 10 times every game, it feels like. But I think he's one of the top plays in the slate, no question.
Yeah.
And I also do happen to like Chase here, assuming that Burrow does play, and I happen to like Burrow. Those would be the three pieces that I would be heaviest on. We'll see about T. Higgins' health and all that. But yeah, I mean, 81 degrees in Miami. I'm interested in this game for sure. Just curious who's going to be playing in it.
Yep.
All right, Tampa Bay, Carolina. This is a big game. They have two left, and that's going to dictate who wins that division and who goes to the playoffs and who doesn't. Even though the team might not have a winning record. So, but another one that I think is interesting for DFS purposes. I really like. I mean, again, I'm always a little suspect because I think the numbers are a little inflated this year because 2 games against Bijan Robinson just completely tearing Tampa Bay apart have sort of warp your rushing defense numbers. I have interest in both these guys, but I have big concerns. Like we saw it with Bucky Irving, but if they're at the goal line, he's a great. Like I love Bucky Irving, and he's clearly their number one running back. But when they get to the goal line, it's all Sean Tucker, and you really you lose all your touchdown equity unless he breaks one. So this game, like I think I'd be more inclined to maybe play the passing side of it. You have a super cheap Bryce Young against the second worst pass defense in football. Not the most exciting play in the world, but play him and McMillan, go right back to it. Maybe even include either a Leggett or a Coker in a stack. I think it's kind of interesting. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I like that. I like Bryce Young with McMillan and Coker. And on the Tampa side, well, first of all, in the Carolinas, I'm not going to play the running backs. First of all, I don't want to play the running backs against Tampa anyway, and I wouldn't even be sure which one to play. I mean, listen, I'd probably play Dowdle, right? But it's not just his show anyway. On the Tampa side, I mean, one thing I will say, I mean, Mike Evans looked really good, but he also looked like it's like every time he catches the ball, I think he's going to get hurt. I think he's getting hurt again. Like it's just, I mean, I don't know what. I mean, good for him. I mean, like he's at 12 targets, 6 of 12, 132. You know what I mean? And getting beat up a little bit too. It's So I like him. I mean, I really do like him. So yeah, I mean, why not? It's a shorter slate. Maybe I'll take a shot at this one.
Yeah, and it's interesting because with the 3 wide receivers, it is a little, and honestly, it's the fourth too because Jalen McMillan is the guy we see them. They'll look for him for big plays, but so it gets messy. The one thing you can feel consistently good about though is that Baker and Evans have a great connection, and Evans, as far as I remember, I think he I don't know if this is right, but it's something like he's like one of the all-time best receivers in history against any team, specifically against Carolina. So. I don't know if that holds the same weight that it used to, but I thought it was just kind of worth mentioning. And yeah, I think this is a game that could get a little bit interesting. All right, Buffalo, Cleveland, and I'll start this one off real quick. I always have interest in Josh Allen on slates where there's nobody with the same upside of him, obviously, and yet his price is still not like unreasonable. I think that I'm a little bit interested in, as we always say, hard to know who to pair him with. I wouldn't know the answer to that right now. But I do have some interest in Josh Allen, and I actually like guys like that in tough defensive matchups. I actually would be arguing for Cleveland if they were any other team. I don't know if you saw this tape that's going around, but it is weird, and I don't want to get into the conspiracy angle of everything, but it is strange what these linemen are doing. They literally, we've got there's like videos of like 20 guys who literally just dove into no one last week. And there's a lot of people speculating that they're trying to sabotage Shador, which I don't want to even get into. It just was weird to me to see an offensive line like do things like that consistently. And they had some the week before too. So
what's the I haven't followed that storyline at all. What would be their reason for doing that? I mean,
they didn't want Shador. Well, for one thing, it was kind of weird that they didn't give Shador a chance a little bit sooner. I never really understood the Gabriel thing. I still don't. But I also think that like there's the speculation is that the coach doesn't like that he's sort of like bigger than the game. There's a lot of personality things that people are thinking that they're not, they don't want.
Who would they rather have at quarterback? I mean, like
they don't have anybody else, so they have to play.
I mean, like what are they? Okay.
No, the logic doesn't necessarily make sense. I was just seeing what the offensive line was doing, and if that's just the offensive line who literally is diving into no one, it just looks bad. Otherwise, I think I would talk myself into, because I think it hurts the other guy too. I think it makes it much harder to play Judkins, who we both like as a player. So I'm kind of mixed on this one, but I think mostly it's probably just Josh Allen for me.
I'm not mixed on anything. This is Lock City, USA. Cleveland's winning outright.
Okay.
And I'm playing Sanders, and I'm playing all the Cleveland offense.
Okay.
That's my. They're going to have a game script. They're going to have all of it. And Shador. I mean, you give me this narrative street, I'll play it for more. Whatever it is. So,
I know you get so fired.
I'll do all of it. I'll do the Judkins. I'll do the Sanders. I'll do the Jerry Jeudy. I'll do the. Oh man, how awesome would it be if actually Njoku's going to be out again? But if Njoku's in, maybe I'll play Njoku with 3K. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just a dream letdown spot for Buffalo coming off that just amazing comeback. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it was an amazing comeback, which you knew was going to happen after the first score. You know what I mean?
I'm with you 100%.
And this is just like a dream letdown spot in Cleveland after all of this. So Cleveland wins outright, and give me all of these Cleveland idiots in the offense. That's my take that I hope I get off before on Sunday. Okay.
All right. Look, we all know that I'm not entirely a believer of Buffalo's defense, so I kind of like the excuse to play against them when no one's going to. No one's going to. So I think that you're going to be alone. But look, we've seen, and we're 1 week removed from Cleveland winning all the money for everybody in DFS.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't put up 5 million fantasy points the week.
Well, for the same reason I said last week, people were thinking about going Shador against Cleveland. I'm like, we're only 2 weeks removed from him being considered the worst quarterback in football. Now all of a sudden, now we're 2 weeks removed from him being like the millionaire making it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And here's the thing. I mean, with these rookies, they're volatile, and they have downward volatility, but they also have upside volatility. You don't play them as chalk. But you certainly can play him at 4% ownership, if that.
Yep.
So I'm down with this.
Yep. And I wanted to give you a funny stat that I came across this week. So it's interesting. It's over the last 20 years, and this sort of leads into this game, but more it'd be better if it was a night game because it tells the point more. In teams traveling West Coast to East Coast.
Oh, this thing again?
In night games are 70% against the spread over 20-year period.
That's really funny.
But for evening, only for evening games, because they say that your body peaks and differently, all these things. Now it's very different for earlier games, and it specifically was Dallas and further east. That's how the thing was.
So Dallas is the borderline.
But separately, I think that we just have. I mean, look, assuming that Quentin Johnston and everybody's good to go, it's a little murky with how many guys there are. But I really like the idea of getting to Justin Herbert stacks here. And I have a lot of respect, on the other hand, for the defense of the Chargers. So I'm having trouble with the run back side of things, but I like the Herbert stacks quite a bit. Maybe it's as simple as just throwing Jameson Williams. Not Jameson Williams, Javonte Williams on the other side. But I think it's an interesting game.
I like the Dallas side here.
Okay.
I like the offense here. My problem with that is just looking for the first time is just the price. I mean, all these guys. I mean, Lamb is 7,800. I mean, that's not too bad. But I mean, Pickens is annoying enough to like drag some work away from Lamb, even though he hadn't done anything in like forever. Pickens.
Yeah, something happened to him. I don't know. He was having a monster season. I mean, he still is having a good season.
I'll tell you who gets the respect from me is the Javonte Williams. Like Javonte Williams, he got taken out of that game with the shoulder. I thought he was done for like the day. Who gets sent to the locker room?
Yeah,
and then comes back and plays in football like nobody.
Yeah.
So good for him. I mean, listen, they lost and whatever, and they're mathematically alive still. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna have a good. I think they're gonna have a good game. And
the only issue I have with it is so hard because I just keep watching these Chargers games and they literally give up nothing through the air. They're the best.
Yeah, and the price is also hard too. Yeah, maybe not.
But I said the same thing about the Rams. But there are two teams that I know can score on anybody. I know the Lions and two not great teams, but teams that can score. The Lions and the Cowboys are those two teams. There's nobody who they can't score on. So I'm not against it. I think Javonte Williams though might be the play here. I really do. I'm going to talk myself into that even more. And I think Hampton also is in play. I think all of the Chargers are totally in play. But if Johnston's out, it makes it even more appealing. And either way, I think they're going to keep giving more and more work to Hampton. Although they like Vidal, so it's a little tricky. But 5,800 is cheap enough for Hampton for me to get.
So you ready for it this next game?
All right, let's go, Sheets.
You ready for it? You ready for Brady Cook season?
Oh, I thought you were going to go the other way. Okay.
Oh, both. I mean, all of it. I mean, like this is. First of all, I thought Brady Cook was actually pretty good. They actually like him. And they're in New Orleans. And what is he, a park upgrade, whatever, they're playing in the cold. And now they're in New Orleans. And I like both sides of this game. I think this is like what they call, this is like the clown fiesta. I don't think either team is interested in playing defense anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that this game is going to produce. So I will play the same guys I always play, that being Olave, and I'll still play Shuck. Now it's interesting to see what happens with the running back because Neal was taken out of that last game. I don't know what his situation is. We got to see who's in. I mean, if all the guys are out, then it's like estimate. You know what I mean? A 5K.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly who's in and who's playing, but
yeah, I think as of right now, we would assume that it would be estimate, and I think that's like whoever it is, just they all make sense.
Yeah. And then all these Jet guys are still cheap. The Adonai Mitchell and the Mechie and whoever. So I think shorter slate. I think this game could be the nuts. So again, one of those takes that I hope I get myself off of. But you know what? If the last like 9 weeks have been any indication, I'm not going to be off of the Saints games. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
I have some interest in Shuck here. I think this is going to be a low scoring week. I was wrong last week when I thought it'd be high scoring. It wasn't especially.
I thought it was very high scoring. No,
it was high scoring enough. I mean, you know what it was? My lineups weren't high scoring.
Right. That's pretty funny.
But I like the Johnson, Olave, Shuck mix, and I don't know what's happening. And Estime, assuming or whichever running back. I like the New Orleans side. I don't feel like they're going to go crazy. I think they're going to keep Breece Hall. I'm not 100% sure on this. So I don't know how much they're going to just like let him go. That's the one thing for the Jet side that kind of scares me. And then Adonai Mitchell, I feel like, look, I'll take these targets, and that's probably, I know different quarterback now and all that, but I just think we should be playing Adonai Mitchell. I think he's clearly their best receiver, and that would be my run back. But yeah, I'm not against the New Orleans side. I can't quite get on the Brady Cook bandwagon, but I definitely like the New Orleans side.
What do you? I mean, these are some cool games. What do you think of this one? I don't know what the weather's going to be like in New York. That's the problem.
It actually doesn't look like it's especially terrible. 10-mile-an-hour winds, 46 degrees. I know it's early.
Oh my God, that's like the summer.
Yeah.
Well, and meanwhile, McCarthy wasn't bad last week, and you got Justin Jefferson at 6K. That seems kind of a joke, no? So I'm and then you got Naylor, who was really good last week. He's 3,500. Yeah, sure, why not? Minnesota plus receivers, and I just have such trouble playing anybody against the Minnesota blitz package. It's hard. It's hard for me to do. So I don't know what I can get on if I can make like a full giant stack or anything like that. But I don't think I want to play Wanda Robinson at 6,200. If anybody, maybe Slayton at 4,200 or that tight end, Theo
Johnson.
What's his name? Theo Johnson. So, So you can play. Listen, you can play Jack Dart. You know, Minnesota's blitzing a lot. He could probably get out and run a little bit. So, boy, it's kind of rough to play Giants games at freaking at that stadium, and that's why I was so surprised so many people played it last week.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like it.
yeah, I'm in on the Minnesota side. I'm having a harder time with the Giants, but I think that this is going to be the ultra chalk. So it might be something we have to get away from because I look, it hasn't been the right year. You can look at the recent games and it's just been nothing from Jefferson. It's just hard against the Giants to not want to play him at 6K. Yeah. It's also like you mentioned Naylor, who I agree, but I wouldn't cross off Jordan Addison either. I'm in on that side of things. And if I had to pick anything to take a shot against Minnesota from the Giants, I think my favorite thing would either be Tyrone Tracy or Darius Slayton. I think Darius Slayton, look, he had 10 targets last week.
Yep.
They didn't work out. And look, there were bombs in there. There was balls that were bobbled. There was all kinds of possibilities. So I'm a little bit interested, although that Vikings pass defense has been very, very good.
So the other thing I was kind of right about last week, and I didn't get the score exactly right. I figured that the Chiefs Chargers game was going to be it was going to be a struggle. You know, I thought it was going to be a 17-9er, and it basically was. Okay. And part of it was because, I mean, quite honestly, I think KC's defense is really good. And KC, just like I said, it's easy to say now because, you know, now Mahomes is out, but I was saying that their offense was just kind of like a step away this year, you know, for however you want to describe it. Like maybe they weren't as innovative, maybe it was a little step slow, whatever it was. It just wasn't the same. And the Chargers defense, like you mentioned, is pretty good. So I had a feeling that game was going to be like that. And I don't see much difference here, honestly. I mean, Kansas City, Tennessee. I think this is another 17-9er. I think the Chiefs got to be good enough to win the game, but maybe even not. Who knows?
Without Mahomes?
But I think, well, yeah, with no Mahomes. I mean, so I figure maybe they're still going to be like a 3.5-point favorite even without Mahomes.
Yeah.
So I feel 17-9. I feel I don't want to play anybody from this game, and that's going to be it.
I might be crazy, but when I first thought about this slate, actually, this was my favorite stacking spot, and that's Kansas City. It's bizarre. I get it. But Gardner Minshew, like one thing we know about him is he'll take chances. I know it has not worked out well for these guys so far this season, and their offense has not been right. There's still talent in that room, Rice and Worthy especially. I don't think I feel it quite as strongly now that we've sort of talked through some of these games, but I'm a little bit interested in Gardner Minshew. At 4,500. I think that he's active enough. He'll even take off and run a little bit. We've seen Tennessee give up big passing games. I think it's kind of interesting to play him with Rice or Worthy. I'm wondering if they even play Kelsey. The thing is, he's probably retiring at the end of the season. And maybe they let him have his one last game in Kansas City or something. I don't see the need. Or you can go the other way and say, well, maybe that's the reason you should be playing him because you know they'll give him whatever they can. So I'll have to wait to see what's happening with that. But yeah, I like the KC side of this. I'm not especially interested in the Tennessee side as a stacker or anything, unless we hear KC's resting all their defense or just sitting them out or whatever. But Iamanor and DK are always two cheap options that I'm interested in at least considering.
I would love to play like Jacksonville, like in general. Like I said, I mean, I think they're really hot. You know what I mean? Like they're playing really well. It's just tough to do anything in Denver. It just is. So I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I certainly see the variations where this entire game goes crazy. You know what I mean? Because Jacksonville gives stuff up, and everybody can, you know, once that accelerator gets put down by both these guys, I mean, this game could kind of explode. So I'm going to revisit this. I mean, put a gun to my head now, I would say you have to keep it in, you know, because again, I think that part of the distribution could win like the whole slate. You know what I mean? Like if in fact Jacksonville gets off and just starts going off and like gets up 7-0 and whatever, then Denver has to push back, and Jacksonville really also. You know, the funny thing is the spread is like 3. You know, it's like it's Denver like the number 1 seed and they never lose, and they're at home and they're at -3. You know, so it's Jacksonville's, you know, they're getting respect out there. And why not? They never lose. So so I don't know. What are your thoughts overall on this?
Yeah, I I think the game could be competitive. We've checked. I mean, like the Giants went in there and beat the hell out of Denver for 3.5 quarters. It's not like we haven't seen a little bit of that. But I mean, just all numbers wise, from a first look, I definitely am interested in the Bo Nix to Cortland Sutton. Bo Nix maybe throw in some of the Troy Franklin, but mostly it's just Bo Nix that I like here as of right now. I also would just like to point out, even though it's not a great matchup, it's not just this last week. Trevor Lawrence has been like much more consistently productive for a $5,900 price quarterback. So he's on my list, but the one I prefer would be Nix here.
Arizona, Atlanta. Well, it took everybody 5 years to get it, but everybody finally got the Kyle Pitts game.
Of course, when he's like the chalk too, like so.
Of course, he's the chalk. I mean, I'm sure no one's making money yet overall on Kyle Pitts. But all right. So Atlanta and Arizona, we have good weather. I guess I'm looking here. I guess all these guys are still out. Drake.
I think London's going to play.
Oh, okay. So then, all right. Then that changed things a little bit.
Yeah, a little less interest in the.
What about Marvin Harrison? Is he going to be out again?
I don't even think of him as like a player, but yeah, I think he's. he's
a player in that it impacts everybody else.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I mean, I would go right back to hashtag wash Darnell Mooney at 4K if Marvin Harrison's out again. I would probably try that. And then on the Arizona side,
on the other side though, he's with London, not with Harrison.
Oh right, no, sorry about. Oh
yeah,
no, who did I say?
You said Mooney, another team,
yeah. So on the Arizona side, I don't think I want to play Michael Wilson. At 6,900. They might have priced me out finally. I mean, Atlanta can play some defense. I don't know. McBride still seems like a little bit too expensive at 7,600. So it's back to Bijan, I guess. So Bijan is 8,700. Is he a better play than A-Chain? I guess the answer has to be no, or maybe not. Well, who do you like better between those two? How about that? We'll start with that.
Bijan.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, there it is.
People may not realize that Bijan's like more productive than A-Chain, as great as A-Chain's been. And you give me Arizona. I mean, they're both in great matchups. Yeah. But I feel really comfortable with, and I think Atlanta. Look, they don't have their pick. They have nothing to lose for. The Rams have their pick, which is pretty sweet. But I love Bijan here. And Kirk Cousins. If Kirk Cousins just played against Tampa Bay, his last 3 games against Tampa Bay, Sheets, his last, he threw for what, 373 yards and 3 touchdowns the other night. That was his worst game against Tampa Bay in the last 2 years. And he doesn't do anything against anybody else. But yeah, I like the Bijan a ton. I think in the afternoon slate, you play Algier. You can play both of them. I think it's totally reasonable against this Arizona defense, who's just sort of kind of given up a little bit. What hasn't given up though is that offense. And I have to I just think the right thing to do is to whatever percentage we think Michael Wilson and Trey McBride are going to be owned,
just keep playing.
We've got to do some of it, And this is only a 2.5 point Atlanta spread. We could even consider Brissett here. I think this whole thing is kind of interesting. And then you have a natural run back with Bijan. So I'm a little intrigued here. I mean, it's early, so we're more interested in more things. I'll fine tune my thoughts later on. But as of right now, I do have Arizona as one of the stacks that I'm interested in.
All right. So if there's another thing I've learned, and it's I've learned like however many years of watching football, but one thing I've learned in the last couple of years or whatever is, listen, you put all this stuff together, right? You had Pittsburgh in their freaking dream spot at home, a Monday night against a warm weather team coming in, okay? And now you get to go into Detroit coming off the loss, okay? And they never lose coming off the loss.
Yeah.
This is big trouble for Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? This is serious trouble for Pittsburgh. This is 40 points from the Detroit offense city. That's my opinion. Yep. And you should play anybody with a 2 or an 8 in front of them as far as the Detroit team goes. And Gibbs might not even be one of those guys. He might be a 0, or I don't know what his number is. But all the Detroit guys are in play. I think that they're going to put up an enormous number, and God forbid they are up 21-0. It's just hasn't even gotten started yet. So they're only right now 40% to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So needless to say, it's a must-win game. Yeah. And the must-win game also is going to translate into a must-blowout game if the opportunity presents itself. So I like all the Detroit stuff. I am actually pretty impressed, by the way, with Kenneth Gainwell this year.
Yeah.
He's been playing really, really well. And as far as I'm concerned, Jalen Warren like almost doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
So if I had to play anybody from Pittsburgh, maybe I'd play some Kenneth Gainwell. You could certainly play Metcalf. I mean, certainly can do that. And I think you're going to get the opportunity to be passing the ball pretty quickly in this game. But for me, it's Detroit.
Yeah, I'll go. I agree 100%, and I think Detroit is going to. I think this is a blowout. I think Detroit's going to beat the hell out of them. I think they're going to score, in the 40s, just like you said.
But they're expensive, all these guys.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can't necessarily play all of them, but you can play Goff. I mean, look, Goff and St. Brown and Jameson Williams were, other than if not for Trevor Lawrence and his 6 touchdowns,
right.
That was the stack that made the logical stack that made the most sense. The stack that won all the money was Lawrence with those 2 receivers, which is really unusual. Yeah. I like Williams and I like St. Brown and I like Metcalf.
Yep.
And I really like Goff.
What about Gibbs compared to Bijan and A-Chain?
I think just naturally he's below them, but because the ownership is going to reflect that, maybe you could talk. Maybe we can talk ourselves into it, because I don't think he's going to get anywhere near the ownership the other guys are going to. And we know he's. I mean, in my opinion, he's. If I had to pick one running back to have in football, it would be him. I think he's the best player, the best running back, by not by a lot, but by enough.
I like Bijan.
I like Bijan too, but Gibbs is just like,
tough.
I don't know, man. He's just he's the guy who, like, he might have one of those 10 games or 11 fantasy point games every now and then, but then he puts up 50 and 40 in the next 2 or something like that. So I'm into this one, and I just like Metcalf from Pittsburgh. I don't like anybody else.
Well, if you were a little upset that Woody Marks got taken out of the game with the ankle,
yeah,
you get another chance to play him at actually a fair price.
Yeah, and you know what? We're not allowed to complain. You know why? This is my rule. If you're not allowed to complain, if the guy who wins is on the lineup that wins all the money everywhere, then we don't get to complain about him getting hurt. No. Because that guy had him too, and he won $1 million.
660. So, but now he's a fair price at 6,600. By the way, according to the coach speak or whatever, that he literally was barely even hurt, but they were winning, so they just didn't have to put him back in. Yeah. So he's going to probably rate to be a good play again at 6,600. Why not? They're a 100-point favorite against the Raiders, whatever. The Raiders do, again, I always say this, but maybe I'm just hallucinating. The Raiders always play hard, whatever that means. So I don't think I'm going to go back to the Houston passing game really this week. If anything, I'll just probably go with Marks. And then the Raiders, again, it's just hard to play much against the Houston defense nowadays. If anybody, I mean, you get me a one-off with Bowers somehow or Trey Tucker at 3,900, yeah, I'll live with it, but I'm not going to go stacking Kenny Pickett and whatever.
I don't think you've looked yet, but do you want to take a shot at what the Raiders run projected total is? Just the Raiders?
What, 14?
11.5.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it's tough.
11.5 is
who's going to be who's quarterbacking, by the way, you think?
I think Geno might be back for this one.
He's so tough, man.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I mean, like, he just keeps coming back for more punishment. It's like
I know. And this is real punishment too, because this defense is obviously
they bring the heat. They really do.
Legit. Yeah. But I agree about the Woody Marks, but I think Nico Collins is my favorite play here. And I think you have multiple routes of how he can do it. It's not like you necessarily have the perfect game script, but he can get loose. And I think that Stroud's finding his way. Maybe they let Stroud do what he did to Baltimore, which sort of got him going this season when Baltimore literally was missing like an entire offense and defense. Maybe this is another one of those games where it's like, okay, we've got Stroud who's played really good in real life and they're doing well and all this stuff. Maybe this is the one he just explodes from an actual DFS perspective. Just throwing it out there, but mostly it's Nico Collins for me, followed by Woody Marks.
So I have a dumb question. Okay, so we talked about all these plays, and usually there's like some cheap running back that like it's going to look good, and I haven't found it. Is it really going to be like Austin Estime? Is that going to be the chalk at the end of the day, or not? Or maybe not?
I think Estime is probably going to be one of them. I'm curious what people do with Hampton against the Cowboys. Everybody knows you can run on the Cowboys. But they are sort of splitting somewhat with he and Vidal, so I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Who else are the running backs? I mean, you got to pay up to this week, right?
I think Javonte Williams is the best answer I can come up with.
That's
He's
interesting.
400. We haven't seen the big games, but they've been in some really bad running back matchups. I mean, look at these last 4 games. You don't want to run the ball against any of those teams. So, I mean, the Vegas was the game before that. So he would be the one.
This is the dude.
Who is it?
It's Quinshon Judkins. That's
who I said earlier, but I don't know. Yeah, okay. You know what? It's your guy. You already are on that game, so I'll give the Judkins.
It's got to be. I mean, who's gonna when I say he's the dude? I mean, who's like under 6K? I mean, he's 6K flat. I mean, that's about the best I'm gonna do as far as like a good bit of value here. Who else is there? Well, Breece Hall, 59. What were you saying about him? You thought he was
I don't know what they're going to do. I feel like every time I watch the game, they're giving the ball to Tyler, to the other backup running back, the Tyler, whatever his name is. And I don't know. I just something about the nothing to play for and the fact that he's like the guy they kept out of what was supposed to be building towards their future instead of Garrett Wilson.
Well, I'll give you another idea. Now, this is like really gross. Okay. But what if I was going to give you a guy who put up 100 yards 2 weeks in a row? Okay, this is his category. He's put up 100 rushing yards 2 weeks in a row, and he's playing a team that has a good defense. But according to what Sheet says, when a team is now done for the season, the defense is the first to give up. How can I interest you in any Tony Pollard?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would like to know, like, if we hear like there's a couple of guys sitting for the defense for Kansas City, I'm super in on that.
He's 5,400.
Yeah.
And last week he was 14 for 104.
Yep.
And the week before he was 25 for 161 against Cleveland.
Yeah, I know.
And again, Tennessee is good. Kansas City is good defense, but now their season's done. You know what I mean? Like Chris Jones wasn't he walked off the field during the game also?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
This is gonna be the shit. This is gonna be it. It's gonna be Tony Pollard at 5,400.
How about the one team that never runs the ball? And I really want to play Michael Carter a little bit against Atlanta.
Who's that? Oh, from Arizona.
For Arizona, yeah, because there's no Bam Knight. Whatever work they're gonna have, Carter and he has speed. He can break plays, and Atlanta loves to give up big plays. That's kind of interesting. You mentioned Gainwell. I know it's not a great matchup, but it's
it's a great game script.
Yeah, I think Estime is going to be the chalk one. But if there was a week to play, we're talking about this hammer Detroit stack. Does David Montgomery maybe have something to do with that at 5K? Maybe he gets his 2 touchdowns and 100 yards. I think that's possible.
He might.
So that's a little bit interesting. Yeah, obviously we'll wait to see.
I'm doing this again. I can't believe I'm doing this again. So I'm really going to be stacking Tennessee again, or not. So Van Jefferson left Sunday's game with a back injury. So let's see what happens with that. You'll have DK at 4,200, Ian Minor 33, and Tony Pollard at 5,400, and Cam Ward at 4,400. And then I could play both Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs, or Bijan and A-Chain, and everybody else I want. And then when then it'll be 17-9 Kansas City. I'll look stupid. So
no, but I hear you. Like I think that's going to be the way you're going to try to get creative to try to get these, because while there are these other running backs, I do think when we talk about ceiling, like A-Chain, Bijan, and even Gibbs, I just think there's such a massive ceiling for them here. It's hard for me to
look real quick that the defenses here. You get freaking Myles Garrett at 2,200.
They're 2,200 only.
I mean,
okay,
dude. Like I've seen Josh Allen do some stuff.
Yeah. He'll toss it up there. He'll throw it up there. He'll fumble the ball. He does all that.
Excuse me, you're getting Gardner Minshew against Tennessee at Tennessee 2,500.
That's true. Yeah, I think
correlates perfectly with the rest of my Tennessee idiots.
Right. No, it's true. And we've got Richard here in the chat saying, what about Bucky versus Carolina? And I'll just go back. Like, I like Bucky Irving a lot as a running back, but it's really hard when you have 3 running backs that all play a lot, and you get basically 0 goal line carries from Bucky. You get all Sean Tucker or Rashad White. And they're all good running backs. That's the problem.
Who is a good tight end this week? I'm just looking here. There's some games you could play here. Fanning against Buffalo, maybe.
I've got Pitts.
There's a lot of guys.
As one that's marked down on the high end. I like Gadsden in the mid-tier and Juwan Johnson. And look, We have to acknowledge Darren Waller, right?
Dude, I had him at captain, like 25% captain the other day.
Oh, really? That's sick.
Yeah, and I just couldn't quite get the rest of it done.
Yeah, that's pretty sick though. And then this question about I could not like Michael Carter or Aaron Jones. Look, that's a pretty rough running back. I don't know how you made round 2 of the playoffs with those running backs, but I think if I had to pick one, I would pick Carter, but I don't feel great about it. Aaron Jones has a great matchup, but Jordan Mason is getting almost as much work. It's just tough, which might be the case with Carter. We just genuinely don't know yet. It's sort of like I was proud of my one. That was my thing that I got heavy on. My highest owned player last week was the Krosky Merritt, who like ended up 3 yards short of the 100-yard bonus and all that. And I thought it was pretty sure because I was like, okay, he's either the first stringer or the third stringer for them. There's no in between, and people really didn't play him that much. So I was hoping that was going to lead me somewhere, but it just couldn't quite get the big game out of him.
So you get three. You get 2 of these 3. You get A-Chain, Gibbs, and Bijan. Who are you taking?
I'm taking A-Chain and Bijan.
Okay.
But there's something very tempting when I'm saying that Detroit's going to win by 40 or score 40 something to want to change my opinion on and go to Gibbs. And if you tell me the other guys are 25% each and Bijan and Gibbs is like 8%, I'll totally flip it. I'll just play more Gibbs. But I'm genuine, and I definitely will be playing guys like David Montgomery in the afternoon slate and things like that. I think a lot of these backup running backs that make a lot of sense on these in these afternoon games. And but Vidal and Montgomery win the afternoon slate this week. That's my prediction. All right, man. Well, guys, thanks for jumping on in. Give us a like while you're here. Sheets, anything else before we get out of here?
Nope. So we'll do we'll do obviously a showdown for tomorrow. Probably NBA again, but we'll do maybe we'll get a full slate tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, what times? The game's not till 5:30 in the afternoon. What time do you think?
At 5.
Right, but what time do you think you want to go on? You want to go right before those games?
I think I might have to do it a little bit earlier because I'm trying to figure out a way to drop Raquel off and see.
Yeah, you tell me.
Can I let you know a little like tomorrow maybe?
Whenever. Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
And then Sunday will be the usual.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, sounds good.